Cast me to Electia. It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. Issue 51 with bonus gallery for issue 50. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. So on my turntable we have the completed models from issue 50. This is the Scorpec Lord with his mighty Flensing Claw and Reap Blade, the two Crypto Thralls, and our Plasmancer. Crypto Thralls are just done to battle ready, but the Overlord and the Plasmancer have both gone a little bit further. I've done a really good energy effect on their weapons. If you'd like to know how I did that effect, watch back to video 4 where I showed how I painted the energy weapons on the Scorpec Destroyers. But they've all been fully based and detailed as I've been doing all my Imperium models. They've also had a coat of Storm Shield varnish with a coat of Ard coat just to help protect the base rim from any wear and tear. But I am looking forward to using them in today's battle. So, without further ado, let's dive into issue 51. So here we have our magazine, and in this issue we receive 2 paints. So we get Powered Witch Flesh, which is a nice layer. It's a pretty bright decayed flesh kind of colour. It'll be used to highlight a lot of various things throughout this collection. I might do a little paint guide when we come to the Sisters of Battle, because the way they've painted the sisters' faces in that issue, they've really overpowered it with the Powered Witch Flesh. For this colour, you really do want to use little of it in order to highlight your models. So I might do that when we come to issue 54. The other colour we get is Dawnstone, and as we'll see in the paint guide, we're going to be using this to highlight a lot of our weapon casings, so any areas we've previously painted black. We're also going to use it to highlight the Phobos Librarian's camo cloak with an edge highlight, and in the future issue I reckon we'll be seeing this used to highlight some of the Necron weapons. I've actually used it on my Scorpec Destroyer Lord on his gun. If I bring him in just a sec, we can see on the very tip there, we've got a nice bright grey. That is what it will look like. It's a really good grey for highlighting all your blacks. So moving on to our contents, and this magazine has fallen to pieces. I've actually had 2, I think, this delivery fall to pieces. So, actual contents of this magazine, we have 3 data sheets for our Necrons of the Scorpec Lord, the Plasmancer, and our Crypto Thralls. We have a background piece for the Raven Guard, a short story featuring the Krieg against Orc Commandos, War in the Scrap Heap. We highlight our Space Marine models and our paint guide, data sheets for all 3 units, and we have the Destruction Unbound mission. Initiate my tongue stops working. Initiate mission 12, pitting our new models against the Sisters of Battle. So here we have our first data sheet. So this is the Scorpec Lord, the Master of the Red Harvest. Scorpec Lords were once proud Necron nobles who have been infected with the Destroyer curse, and now seek only to slaughter organic beings. Their bodies are twisted mockeries of the Necron form, modified and enhanced with only killing in mind. So all Necron Scorpec Lords have the Flensing Claws on their left arm, the Enigmatic Annihilators on their right arm, and also on the right they have the Hyperphase Harvester, another one of the hyperphase weapons. And on the back, I've got Banatur, the Destroyer, is his name and title. His epithets are Scourge of the Living and Imperator of the Crucius Nebula. So I'm guessing that's what he used to be in the olden days. He used to be the leader of the Crucius Nebula. But ever since he got infected with the Destroyer virus, he's become more of a Scourge of the Living. Acts of Annihilation. So he's got a D6 chart here. So in his time, he has butchered an entire Orc war party and obliterated a force of Eldari Corsairs. And we got a little tick chart here, so record the times that your Scorpic Lord ends a battle with no remaining enemy forces on the battlefield and the amount of units that he has destroyed. Pretty cool. Moving on, we've got our Plasmancer, the Harbinger of Destruction. A master of raw plasma energy, Plasmancers use their Eldritch Lances to project beams and waves of searing light and heat that illuminate the battlefield and consume the Cryptex foes in gouts of searing witchfire. So we've got his Plasmatic Lance here, his energy conduits on his backpack, and he has the ability to fly with his little jump pack there. And so the Plasmancers are again members of the Royal Agents. So we've got the Royal Warden there, the Plasmancer, and the Overlord there. My Cryptex name is Unkar. He is the Unending. So he is the Unrusted Lord of Megaria and Master of the Void Scythe. His degradation chart is a D6 table, and I've rolled for Hate and Eliminate Psychers! He doesn't like Psychers, if you can't tell. His Lance's name is called Void Sunder. We've got a tick chart there for each time he destroys a model with his Living Lightning and his Harbinger of Destruction abilities. Any achievements the war gear does in battle, and also any notable battles he partakes in. And finally, for our battle records, we have the Crypto Fools, so defenders of the Cryptex. Crypto Fools are automatons created by the Cryptex to serve as bodyguards and personal protectors. Though slow and ponderous when operating alone, they truly come to life in the presence of a Cryptek, enhancing their combat abilities. So each Crypto Fool has a single eye, which is a energy weapon that shoots a beam at the opponents. They have scything limbs on each of their arms. So some of the things the Cryptex do, they have constantly upgrading systems for the Necrons to improve them after the years of it being degraded. And then the Crypto Fools are often the bodyguards for Cryptex. So we got just the free charts for a lot of the stuff. So my unit designation is the Dread Guards. They have enhanced beam weapons for their Cryptek enhancements. Their guardianship protocols is they guard the Cryptek chambers. And their battle protocol, they will charge anything that's a melee focused unit. So they'll probably run straight towards the Assault Intercessors or Repentia. We got another tick chart here to record each time a unit is destroyed whilst under the effects of the Systemic Vigor ability, which is on our Plasmancer. And then again, we've got our battle record there for any notable battles they've done. Moving on to our first lore page, so we have the Raven Guard, the Sons of Korax, the stealthiest of the stealthy, the dark of the dark, masters of hit and run tactics. So, masters of stealth-based warfare, the Raven Guard strike from the shadows using sabotage, guerrilla tactics, and targeted strikes to pick apart their foes. By the time the Raven Guard are ready to engage in open warfare, their weakened enemies are already in confusion and disarray, primed for swift destruction. So the Raven Guard are the 19th of the Loyal Legiones Astartes, back in the days of the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy. Their Primarch, Corvus Corax, crafted the Trifold Path, which was all about ambush, stealth, and vigilance. And the chapter does continue to practice this to this day. They suffered great losses in the start of the Horus Heresy. At Isfahan 5, their legion was pretty much decimated down to just a few hundred warriors. And it caused Corax to start doing some dark science and messing with the gene seed. They do have a tendency to shun other chapters that prefer to do battle with more aggressive tactics, seeing that the greatest victory is to survive rather than to win through loss. They are also masters of the aerial assault. Their chapter's tech marines have even managed to silence engines, making them a lot more stealthier. And here we see we got a Thunderhawk gunship, Storm Ravens, a Storm Eagle, fighting off against a Chaos Legion of Helldrakes there, and Hellblades, I think they're called. A Forge World Flyer for Chaos. Most notable of all the Raven Guard characters is Kavan Shrike, who is the current chapter master. He was originally the 3rd captain of the Raven Guard, but after the previous chapter master was destroyed, he has since took up the title of chapter master. He wields a bolt pistol called Blackout and a set of master crafted lightning claws, said to have been created by Corax himself. Shrike steeds are legendary, particularly his battles with the Tau and the Orcs on the Damocles campaigns. And we got a little quote from Kavan Shrike, which goes into saying how the legacy of the Sons of Corax are all about shadows. We never openly assault our enemies until we know we've sown destruction. They don't waste their soldiers, as I said. They will prefer to do their hidden tactics before fighting. Other chapters may perceive this as cowardice and dishonorable, but to them there is no better way to fight war. And finally, for our background, we got a new story. So this is War in a Scrap Heap. On the surface of Fendatha, a death corps of Krieg kill team attempts to sabotage an Orc facility and disrupt the Greenskins' war effort on the Octarius sector. Their presence has not gone unnoticed, however. Orc commandos hunt the human soldiers across the Scrap City's rusted walkways. Quite a nice little short story, just finished reading it not long before starting to film this. And we see a small squad of Krieg guardsmen moving to set some detonation charges on an Orc factory, but things don't go their way. They start sneaking through the smog, but they are ambushed by stealthy little Orcs. And while the sergeant tries to reach the generator and set the charges, he is stopped. As he reached for the bombs, a heavy boot descended, pinning him in place. He heard a rough, gravelly voice bark in his ear. "I don't think so, Umi." Ooh, that's a nice end. I reckon there will be part 2. It'll be quite nice, hopefully. So, moving on then, we got our paint guide for this issue, and it's a pretty short one. So, we're just using Dawnstone to highlight pistols, chainswords, the cloak on our librarian, and the hair on our Assault Intercessor Sergeant. Then we're using Powdered Witch Flesh to highlight the tabards of our Captain and Lieutenant, as well as any purity seals and scrolls on all our various models. And there we have a gallery of our finished models. So as we can see here on the Storm Shield, we've edge highlighted the scroll and the purity seals there. Highlighted the Volkite pistol with Dawnstone. Highlighted the cables and the casings for the Aggressor Flamestorm gauntlets. All the black casing on the Storm Chainsword and Plasma pistol has been painted. Areas on the camo cloak have been picked out. Yeah, I think their models are starting to look really nice. And before we get into our battle, we do have our new rule pages. So we got our Scorpec Lord here. All his different weapons. So his Enigmatic Annihilator is an 18-inch gun, Salt 2d3, Strength 6, -1, 1 damage, and Blast. So against units of 10 or more, you're going to get a minimum of 3 for each d3. So that's pretty cool. His Cleansing Claw, each time it makes an attack, it makes 2 hit rolls instead of 1. So again, good against high numbered units, which you'll see on the other side. And his Hyperphase Harvester is good for heavy armor because it's +2 strength, -4 AP, and a 3 damage, so it can wipe out, again, as you'll see, you'll be able to wipe out an aggressor in a single hit. So here we have choice of weapons depending on your opponents. So Cleansing Claw for weak units with high numbers, and the Thresher for tougher units with lots of wounds. And we have a little combat here. So United in Destruction is an ability that allows plenty of rerolls for your Scorpec unit to destroy your cult units. So you're going to end up wiping out quite a lot of stuff because you get to reroll all your ones. So moving on to our Plasmancer. So he's pretty much the same as most of the other Cryptex. So he's got a dual profile weapon. So it's a shooting weapon, 18 inches, assault d3, strength 7, -3, 2 damage. So that's pretty cool. An assault plasma weapon that doesn't get hot. And in melee, it's just strength of user, -3 and 2 damage. So he has living metal as usual. Command protocols. Living lightning. So at the start of the fight phase, roll a d6 for each enemy within 6 inches. On a 4+, they suffer a mortal wound. And he has Harbinger of Destruction. At the end of your movement phase, if this model did not fall back, roll 3 d6s. For each 4+, the closest enemy within 24 inches and visible suffers a mortal wound. And in Dynastic Advisors, again, you can include 2. You can include 2 for the slot of 1. On the back, we got a bit about his Living Lightning and his Harbinger of Destruction abilities there. For use. And then we have our Crypto Thralls. So these are just two little bodyguard units. So the Scourging Eye is a pistol, 2, strength 5, -2, 1 damage. And their limbs, strength for user, -3, 1 damage. They have barreled creation, so they don't take up a battlefield slot if you include a Cryptek. Protectors, so your opponent can't target Cryptex as long as they're within 3 inches of a unit. And Systematic Vigor. While within 6 inches of a Cryptek, their weapon skill and ballistic skill are increased to 3, and their attacks are increased to 6. So it can make these guys pretty deadly. And again, we got a couple of tutorials about how to use their abilities. Okay, we're getting on to our big battle. So, Unbound Destruction. So we've got the Scorpec Lord leading an assault against the Adeptus Sororitas with a few Ultramarine allies. And we're using 2 mats with the printed terrain, setting up. We're using the crates and barrels over the extra pipes there. So it's going to be a pretty cool battle. So I'll just set that up and I'll be right back. So Battlefield has all been set up. The Necrons are the attackers, so they're deployed over on my left. So I've got pretty much everything deployed in the bottom corner here, just to give it as much protection as possible. Then on my right, I've got the Sisters and their AdMech allies. I've elected to hold the Seraphim, Repentia, and the Repentia Mistress in reserve, as I'm hoping they can come out from behind and do a rear vanguard charge. The Arco-Flagellants are going to be there for mainly distraction. Aim of the mission is to score as many victory points as possible. 1 point for every unit you destroy in your own turn. We also get 2 points for killing the Warlord. The Warlord in this scenario is the Skorpekh Lord and the Canoness. So, here we go then with some dramatic reading. Unbound Destruction. The Necron's Skorpekh Lord has returned to the field of battle. Accompanied by his loyal Skorpekh Destroyer subjects, the insane noble has been unleashed upon Electia's manufacturing and shipping facilities. Accompanied by a Cryptek Plasmancer and its Crypto Thrall attendants, the Destroyer cults have been tasked with sowing death and destruction through the facility, securing this key objective for the Saltek dynasty. Necron's Overlord destroyed the Defenders. As the number of human defenders continues to dwindle, so the Skorpekh Lord seeks new targets upon which to unleash his wrath. The presence of living beings within Electia's well-defended dockyards has proven enough of a lure for the Overlord to draw his insane kin towards this target of opportunity. Imperium Canoness repel the assault. The Canoness, fresh from victorious battles on the High City's surface, has descended into the hive and reinforced her sisters and the dockyard's resident force of Adeptus Mechanicus defenders. They must wipe out the Necrons and ensure that the strict supplies and facilities remain in the hands of the Imperium. So, 5 battle rounds to see who wins. And can we contain the supplies? The only thing mission brief doesn't tell us is who gets first turn, so red for the Imperium, green for the Necrons. And for a change in the listings, it's the Imperium that goes first. So, I will play turn 1. And I'll be right back. So here we go with Imperium, turn 1. So turn 1 has come to a close, and it wasn't much. As for these sort of battles, it's mainly units moving into better positions. So my Skorpekh units have moved up and are hiding behind the reactor, so the enemy can't get a line of sight to them, hopefully. Reanimator, Plasmants, and the Crypto Thralls have just moved up to the pipes there. Battle Sisters have moved into the building. 3 of them were able to get up the floor. The rest have just moved onto the bottom. And the Destroyers moved out into a position where they can actually aim their guns, with the Tech Priest behind, and the Arco-Flagellants have ducked into the building there. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, my Sacred Rites, I've rolled 2, and I've gotten Spirit of the Martyr and Divine Guidance. That's going to be pretty good. Most of my Sisters of Battle units will need that extra AP against the Skorpeks, so definitely worth having. But that's it for turn 1. So here we go for turn 2. And the end of turn 2. The Sisters moved more into the building for extra protection. They managed to get 1 gun in range to shoot the Skorpekh Destroyers. Did do a wound, but he healed it with living metal in their turn. The Grav Cannon shot at the Reanimator, doing 2 wounds, but it healed 1 thanks to living metal. And 6 shots from the Plasmas into the Crypto Thralls, only managed to kill a single one. Necron's turn, everything advanced a bit more. Harbinger of Destruction absolutely failed on this guy. But the Skorpekh Lord managed to kill 3 Sisters with his Enigmatic Annihilator. Even with a 2+ save, they sadly just rolled 2 1s and a 2. So they didn't do too good there. But anyway, it's now time for the Imperium to begin their counterattack with turn 3. Okay, so turn 3 has just ended, and it hasn't ended too well. The sisters managed to shoot at the Scorpic destroyers, with causing a massive 1 wound, which was swiftly healed with the living metal. It was the flamer that actually did the wound. Everything else failed to make its mark. The Grav did some more damage to the Canoptic Construct, but it's still alive. But and also for the Sister's turn, the Archoflagellants made a wonderful charge into the Plasmancer, who swiftly dispatched them in the returning. Dispatched one in the returning fight, thanks to the Crypto Fraud, and the second one died thanks to the Annihilation rule. Where is it? Harbinger of Destruction, that's the one. So moving on to the Necron's turn 3 then, it was basically chop town for the Cataphron destroyers, who managed to move a little bit too far forward. So they got a charge from the Scorpex, the Scorpic Lord and the Reanimator. Scorpic Lord I decided to fight with first, and he just rinsed through him with his Harvester Blade, scoring 3 hits and 3 wounds, which turned into a total of 9 damage. Poor little destroyers couldn't handle that amount of damage. And that is pretty much it. Everything consolidated. The Scorpic Lord consolidated into the Temporary's Dominus. The Temporary's Dominus did fight, but did no wounds. Everything else is consolidating towards the Sisters, and they are in dire need of reinforcements, so I think it's time to bring those in. The Necrons have scored 2 victory points because they wiped out 2 units in their own turn, and that's putting them in the lead. Still, there can be much to play for, so let's see how the Sisters do in turn 4. I did forget to mention, one Scorpic did die thanks to the Plasma Pistol and the Storm Bolter. So yeah, there was one death on the Scorpic side. He did not reanimate, and neither did the Crypto Fraud that died in the fight phase. Oh, shooting phase on the last turn. So anyway, continuing with Sisters turn 4. Turn 4 is over, and it was a pretty eventful one. All the reinforcements came down, and the Repentia and the Seraphim actually made their charges. The Seraphim managed to kill the Crypto Fraud. We're clubbing him to death with their bolt pistols, so the Superior focused her power sword on the Plasmancer, doing a single wound, but he healed that back. He killed them with his Harbinger of Destruction ability. He actually managed to kill the 2 Seraphim with his Living Lightning in the fight phase, which is pretty cool. And then with Harbinger of Destruction managed to finish the Seraphim off. The Sisters managed to shoot and destroy one of the Scorpic destroyers. The Repentia eliminated the Plasma Sight and had to charge into the remaining Scorpic Destroyer and Reanimator, who eliminated them. With a fight, the Reanimator did suffer a wound though, thanks to Spirit of the Martyr, so that's pretty good. The one time it actually managed to get off, it did go off, because the Seraphim was destroyed by an ability, not by combat. The Scorpic Lord cleaved the Tech Priest in half with his Harvester. And while the Sisters have managed to score themselves 2 points for killing the Crypto Thralls and the Plasmancer, not Plasmancer, Plasma Sight, the Necrons, I forgot the name of them. The Necrons are in the lead with 4 points, and if I do play another turn, they are only going to get another 4. 2 for the Warlord. No, 5. 2 for the Warlord, 3 in total because it's a unit, and then 2 for the other units. So it's going to have to be a Necron victory, I believe. So all what's left for me to do then is to see what's in the next 2 Imperiums. So issues 52 and 53 bring us a single model. It is the mighty Triarch Stalker. So 2-part kit. In 52 we build our Stalker. We have some nice background information. Quite a lot, I believe. No, 2 items of background information in 52. Quite a lot in 53 because most of the magazine is the paint guide for this guy. And we also get stratagems. So we get command point tokens in 52. They are triangle shaped. I've put them onto a thin bit of corrugated card, and I've laminated them just to give them a little bit more extra durability with some laminating film. But yeah, that's that. So we are learning to finally add stratagems, which are an important part of how to play. We get 3 basic core stratagems, which are Overwatch, Command Reroll, and Counter Offensive. Then the Necrons ones we get for the Necron ones in issue 53. But like I said, 53 has got a nice bit of lore, so there will be quite a lot to cover. I might do individual videos, I might just do the one, I am not yet sure. I will think about that. It'll be next week either way, 1 video or 2 in 1, and then a 3rd video for the battle report. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. So all that's left for me to do then is to thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more mad content. There's also my links in the description down below. Please also do like and share the video, and drop a comment down below as well if you enjoyed it. So I will see you next time then for more mad content. Goodbye.